What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ryan, or as my moniker suggests, RangerSix, and this is another Ranger review. So I'm really excited. A costume I've always wanted to do finally came in. It is the Kingdom Hearts 3 version of Sora, and it is by CosplaySky. I've always wanted to do a Sora cosplay, or really anything Kingdom Hearts related. A huge fan of the franchise, followed it since the very first game, especially when I thought, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be really dumb. It's just some kid running around with a key, playing around with Disney characters. Little did I know it was going to be probably one of the most influential games of my life. So once I got into cosplaying, it was always on my list. It was always a character I wanted to do, but I just never found a costume I really liked. And I don't know, after a while, I just kind of gave up. The costume's normally $125 with about a $35 shipping and handling fee. It came in through DHL, and it came in just within a few days, really. Now, normally I like to actually show the full unbagging or the unboxing experience. Unfortunately, I already filmed this whole review and then found out at the end my audio was messed up. So I'm going to do something a little different. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. I'm going to kind of play this as I go. But I am going to show each individual piece, and then I'll give my opinions on it from there. So yeah, let me get this costume just kind of picked up and gathered, and we'll go through it piece by piece. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to kind of do this in pieces. I'm going to work top down. I'm going to try and show all the individual parts that I got. As much as I can on the mannequin. I think it's really just going to be the jacket and shirt on the mannequin, then I'll show off the pants and everything else. So starting right out, we have the jacket. This is just one individual piece. It is kind of made of polyester, and it's lined with the same typical like costume clothing lining you'll get just from really anything. I will say that I'm a huge fan of the actual attention to details. One thing that I do give CosplaySky points for is trying to stay accurate. Here on the collar, it's supposed to be like a black and red checker plaid type design. It was kind of specific. It looks like they just kind of took whatever generic and random plaid that was red and slapped it on here. If you can find something more accurate, you can probably just kind of iron something on, get like a fusible backing or something, and just iron it in place. I think that'll make it look a little bit more accurate. I'm going to take a look and see if I can alter that. Another point that I'm going to try and alter is something here in the waist. I'm going to kind of bring it in a little bit more. The character does kind of have, oddly enough, like a hip curve. So I'm going to try and emulate that a little bit more. But I am a pretty big fan of the attention to detail on certain things, such as the golden buttons, 3 of them. Like I mentioned, the plaid, I will give them points for that. And just the overall detail, like every stitch kind of emulates a bit of the detailing in the costume. Maybe not perfectly, but it does show that they paid attention to the imagery and they were trying to emulate something. The zipper on here does work pretty well. It zips up no problem, even though you're probably never going to use it on the costume. It does feel a little cheap just because of there's a little thin metal loop here, almost like a wire. I can definitely see someone snapping that off almost immediately, but the zipper itself is pretty solid. The hood is pretty thick, and that's because it's double lined with the polyester material. It has like a dark gray on the inside, and then the maroon, the red just on the outside. I do like the choice of red they went with. It's not exactly like a bright, gamey looking red. It's more of like a darker neutral red. Moving on, I'm going to show off the undershirt here. Let's get this out of the way. This is just a regular tank top. It's nothing too fancy. It is made of a spandex material, so with this costume, it's going to be really hot. So having something kind of sporty feeling, this is going to help out. This is not a summer cosplay, even though I did buy this in the middle of summer. But having a tank top, being able to just take the jacket off and breathe for a little bit, that's going to be a huge bonus. The only detailing on this piece, just the white collar, that is pretty consistent with what the game shows off in some of the previews and the imagery and everything. So they got that accurate. That's really it for the top, so now I'm going to kind of switch over to the pants and I'll start showing off the bits for that. Alright, next up we have the pants. Now the pants are... I was really impressed with how detailed these were as well. I expected just maybe like some sewn on cheap pieces of fabric or something, but it looks like they kind of went out and tried to layer everything, which with this type of fabric, the more layers you have stacked up, the stronger this is. Now, starting from the very top, you do get this this like purpley belt. It does have a actual metal belt loop on here, or a belt buckle. It's like a purplish color. I like to call it the Disney blue, because Disney blue is actually more like a purple. It's just kind of a thing. One of the nice points about this, just right on the hips, right on the side, it is just slightly elastic. It looks like they just put it right here in this one spot, but it does help a lot. The pants do fasten with a button and zipper, so just like any other normal pair of slacks, these are very accessible for the bathroom. So let me move this over so you can see the pockets a little bit more. So I thought everything that came out on the pockets, just the overall, just attention to color and detail, I thought these came out great. They are a little shallow. I would not put my phone in this upper pocket here. However, these lower pockets are big enough. I would strongly suggest getting maybe like a magnet or some Velcro, something to put in here, so this way, as you're bouncing around, you're not having, you're not just gonna have your phone or something fly out. It is kind of weird that it looks like they just kind of bunched up the thread here. It is a little shoddy at that point, but it is hidden, so I'm not too worried about that. But I do feel like these buttons will probably flop off at some point, so keep in mind and keep an eye on all these points here. You may want to pick up something else. Maybe you want to sew them back on yourself. That's probably the weakest part of this whole costume. Moving on down to the calves, they do have just elastic. Now, if you have really thick calves, these are perfect. Me, even though I work out and attempt to get larger calves, don't got them. So I'm gonna have to modify these, maybe bring them in a little bit, clamp them somewhere. They're not super accurate, and it looks like there are certain methods of making it look a little bit more accurate. I'm gonna kind of pour over a few more photos and see if there's anything I can find. But this is probably the only real complaint over the whole costume and the way it fits. And I will have a quick showing of me wearing the costume at the end of this. So I'm going to wrap up these pants just really quick, and then just in the same view, I'm going to put the accessories that we got. This costume doesn't really come with a lot of accessories, so this last bit will be pretty quick. So these next pieces are these wrist wraps, these gauntlets. There's nothing really too special about them. Initially, when I bought the costume, I expected these to be the worst. I was not expecting much from them, and I thought they actually weren't very accurate. Once I got the costume in and started looking at a few photos, I realized these are actually more accurate than you would expect. So what you end up getting, and let me see if I can undo this belt here really quick. You get 2 of these pleather wrist wraps. They do have maybe like a foam in the middle, so they're slightly padded. The colors are actually pretty accurate. Once again, I was very surprised by this. And the Velcro feels like it will hold. If you have somewhat larger forearms, this may be something you have to get remade or redone. It is something to be mindful for, because I'm not sure if they have different sizing. Like if you bought like an extra large, would these be different, or is this kind of like a one size fits all in their opinion? That's something you may just need to keep in mind. They're not too complicated to make if you want to make them yourself. You can do something pretty simple just by tracing this out and then just layering the fabric. If you have any sewing skills, then you can kind of break this apart and figure out what you want to do after. So then, just separately, they do come with these yellow belts. There's nothing really to write home about them, just a metal buckle there. It's just a folded over piece of pleather, sewn, stitched down. They do feel somewhat durable. I would just keep in mind maybe not try and pulling them too tight when you wear them, and you'll see what I mean when I'm putting everything on. But they may have a tendency to rip because it's doubled up and sewn down. I don't think you will run into that problem too much unless you're being really forceful with it. I would just say err on the side of caution and try not to really tear this up. So I'm in my garage right now. I'm gonna wait for it to cool down just a little bit tonight. I'm gonna come back out and I'm gonna put this costume on so this way you can see what it looks like in person on a full moving body, and I will give a few final thoughts from there. All right, so this is the costume on. Right now you're only seeing just the upper body. It's the only decent shot I can get right now. yeah, just to reiterate a few points. Number one, these wrist guards, this is what they actually look like on hand now, so they're supposed to kind of come up to the knuckle, using these belts to just kind of tighten them up a little bit, just to bring them in. Like I said, they're more accurate than I initially expected. The jacket is very warm, but once again, I am filming this in the middle of July, so it's, I don't know, probably more of my fault than anything. However, as I mentioned, it is a tank top. This is like a spandex, moisture-wicking type material, so maybe once I'm done filming this, I'm taking this jacket off and airing out a little bit. These are going to be pools of sweat on the inside. I can guarantee that. I've only had these on for a couple minutes, and I'm already... I can probably pour water out of here. It's gross. The pants are really nice. I don't really have much I can do in terms of pockets. Again, I wouldn't trust putting anything in the top pockets, but definitely the lower pockets, and once again, probably get some type of magnet, some type of Velcro or something just to lock those down. Pants are very just baggy and breezy, as you expect from those types of characters. If you ever see it, they always look like they're wearing capris. I would definitely suggest trying to figure out how to get them to hike up a little bit more around the calves. I'm gonna probably just end up using... I may sew like a little piece of maybe elastic, or maybe I'll sew some spandex or something that really wraps around. It looks like there's supposed to be maybe like a good couple inches of cuff just down at the bottom, something hemmed down there. That may make it look a little more screen accurate, but I mean, only the images will tell. Other modifications I'm going to work with, I'm going to see if I can find the correct plaid that goes right here, and maybe I can find a way to add it on. I know we can find something online, maybe even walking through Joann's Fabrics. I'll just keep an eye out. If I find anything, I'll post it on Instagram, which I have everything linked below, so just follow me on there. I try to post anytime I do any form of upgrades or updates. There's going to be a few made to this. I'm definitely going to bring in the waist a little bit. Like I said, I just want to just take it in just a hair, just to give it a little bit more shape. It does kind of flare out here on the sides, just because it's a straight cut rather than some type of shape cut. But beyond that, really, I'm just going to focus on making a decent keyblade, finding some shoes, and finding a wig. I may have to make my own. I'm terrible at styling wigs. I'm terrible just at wigs in general, but I feel like this cosplay, you really need to have something good for that. While most costumes from a lot of these shops, I would suggest being a bit cautious on, being a little careful. This one, I think you can put your trust in. I was really excited to get this from CosplaySky. That shop I've always trusted. I've bought a few costumes from them, most notably my Captain America Age of Ultron, and to this day it's still one of my favorites, and it's still holding strong. I trust in their quality, and I trust the product they're putting out. I would highly suggest it, and if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, this is a great costume to pick up. Well, that does it for me. I really hope this was insightful and educational. I hope this maybe prompts you into buying from them. If you like what I had to say, then please like the video, and if you like the channel, please subscribe. If you have any other suggestions for costumes, props, items, just general shops you want me to take a look at, leave it in a comment below. I do pay for everything out of pocket, so if you have a suggestion for a costume or an item you'd like me to pick up, maybe consider on donating a few dollars through the Ko-fi page. I'll have the link down below. Every dollar does help, so it is appreciated, but once again, not required, and I will still try to put out something no matter what. Till then, I've been Ryan, or as I like to call myself, RangerSix, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.